So to answer the title of the video first, no, the Cavs do not have a chance in this series against the Warriors, and there's a decent chance that they're going to get swept while LeBron is the best player in this series. But for the sake of basketball sanctity, I don't know. Let me attempt to stretch this out to 10 to 12 minutes. 1, to get views. 2, because I don't know. Maybe there is some reality where Cleveland could win this series, and let's try to think of some things they could do. I mean, I think they need to take a page out of the Rockets' book with a lot of the things they did in that series. Number 1, go on the offensive boards like crazy. Get yourself some extra possessions. Take advantage of the Warriors wanting to get out in transition. You can do this with mainly just Tristan Thompson. If Kevin Love can play extended minutes in this series, then awesome. But you're going to need your wing players to do it as well. Between JR, Korver, George Hill, Jeff Green. If Jordan Clarkson or Hood play at all. People just got to be attacking the boards against this Warriors team. And it would be smart to have multiple guys do it, because that way it doesn't really allow Golden State to get out in transition, because if you have like 3 guys who are attacking the glass, then the Warriors have to stay back to box you out and all that. So then, as a result, they can't get as many transition buckets, you know? But if you only bring 1 guy, then are you really doing much at that point? Because then it's basically just 4-on-4 the other way, and the Warriors can win on that. So attack the glass like crazy. That's your first step, and I think Tristan Thompson could make an impact there. We do remember the finals, this previous one with them and the Warriors, where Zaza did a good job of just boxing Tristan out. I don't know if Zaza plays at all in this series, and Kevon Looney nor Jordan Bell did much in the way of boxing out Capella in this previous series. So yeah, I think there's an opportunity to grab some offensive rebounds, and you're going to have to grab a lot of offensive rebounds to have a chance against this team. I think LeBron could attack the boards some, but he needs to save as much energy as he can for carrying this team on offense. And then I guess we can transition to what Cleveland should do on offense, which is just attack Steph Curry. It's pretty much all you got. This team doesn't run enough actual sets in order to get the Warriors' defense moving. The one thing they do have is the Kevin Love, Kyle Korver off-ball stuff. I mean, the Warriors will switch that. They'll do whatever. They'll find a way to defend that. Could it lead to some Kevin Love post-ups on smaller guys who could generate some buckets for you? Yeah, you know, that's a possibility, I guess. But I wouldn't bank on that being a huge deal for them in this thing. They have done that, and sometimes it's generated some like open George Hill three-pointers. Possibility, I guess. But still, not expecting a huge thing out of that. And actually, before I dive more into attacking Curry, you could attack Looney and Bell as well, because those guys are getting minutes, and I mean, Harden and CP were attacking those guys a lot in one-on-ones because they were switching a lot of the time. So yeah, I mean, I don't think either one of those guys can stay in front of LeBron, so that's another option for you too. If we can get back to the whole attacking Steph Curry thing, I mean, it was weird because Curry did a good job of like getting away from LeBron 2 finals ago, or the last finals, but he wasn't really able to do it against the Rockets. I think it's because they had the idea to hedge, but then Houston does a good job of like forcing you to switch because they'll have the initial motion and then the screener will like run away, and then Harden will go away from the screener a little bit, and then that kind of forces you to where if you were going to re-switch, then you know, it'd be an open shot for them or whatever. So I guess Cleveland could do that. Am I expecting this to work beautifully? No. I mean, I'm expecting the Warriors to double up on LeBron and all that and force whoever the screeners may be to beat them, but the Warriors are fast enough to where they're not just going to give up super wide open shots all the time. I think Cleveland's best chance here is to just have 5 shooters on the floor, offensively at least, in terms of just generating buckets. I don't think you should abandon the offensive rebound thing, but I do think there are times when having Tristan Thompson in the game could lead to some rough spacing for you, so it'll be a balancing act. I do think, I don't know, I mean, I think in a perfect world you could go Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson, but I just think Love will have too tough of a time defensively in the series. But that would maybe be your best chance, because you could still have 4 shooters out there, and then you could still get yourself like 2 offensive rebounders as well. But I mean, we've seen Kevin Love against the Warriors. He just has a tough time, and he's going to have a tough time again in the series. So yeah, I mean, there are little things you can do if you're Cleveland. I don't think it's going to end up winning you the series or potentially even winning you a game, but yeah, there are little things you could do. Offensive boards, attack Curry, and stuff like that. If we can just talk about LeBron now, I think he's going to be fantastic. If he puts up 40 points and a triple-double and 4 losses, I won't be surprised. I don't think it's possible for him to play less than like 45 minutes a game in this series, and that's pretty much the only way Cleveland can generate some decent offense. And for all it's worth, I do think they can put some points up in this series. Like, I don't care who you're facing. LeBron with a bunch of shooters is always going to be super difficult to defend. So there's that for you, at least if you're the Cavs. Now, does Cleveland have any chance on defense versus what the Warriors are going to do? I mean, I think your only option is just dare Looney, dare Bell, and dare Draymond to hit shots. The Rockets did this for stretches of the 7-game series they just had, and there were times when the Warriors' offense was like actually bogged down, and the spacing was kind of bad at times, and there are adjustments you can make where, sure, Nick Young sucks on defense, and his smarts on offense are not totally there, but he can hit an open 3, so the defense has to care about him at least. Livingston has a little bit more gravity than the 2 big guys, so there are things that the Warriors can do, but there were times when their offense did still look kind of rough. I guess it's possible that that could happen in this series a bit, where you just totally ignore the non-shooters. I think you have to almost ignore Iguodala. I mean, he and Draymond can go off the dribble, so you can't just give them a complete line drive to the rim, but that's pretty much all you can bank on, is you load up on Curry, you load up on Clay, you load up on Durant, and you just hope the other guys don't kill you. But this isn't rocket science. Teams have done this. The Warriors have counters for all this. And when they go to the small 5, the death lineup, assuming Iguodala is healthy, it just seems like unless you're Houston, you don't really have a chance. Or if you're the Spurs with a healthy Kawhi Leonard. I think the other part of that, though, is even if you did manage to somehow figure out how to defend the Warriors, like, just basic screening game, they do all that off-ball stuff. The off-ball cuts and the slip screens and the flare screens and those little plays they run that take up like 4 seconds off the shot clock. I'm assuming the Cavs are going to get killed on those a lot in this series. I also think it would make sense for Golden State to attack LeBron some, because he's done a very good job of not playing defense, but still having, his LeBron impact. You could find ways to attack him. I mean, he's going to be defending, he's going to be on Looney or Bell or Livingston or Iguodala, He's pretty much never going to be on Durant, I think. At least he shouldn't be for long stretches. But Golden State's good. They'll find ways to get KD switched onto him. And LeBron can play defense. It's just he doesn't want to, because he needs so much energy on offense. So if you can just make him 6% more tired because he's got to actually move on that side of the floor, then that's huge for you. And since we're talking about defense, we can just keep on talking about the Cavs defense. It's not going to be good enough. It might not even be moderately good enough. And it wasn't last year, but the Cavs nearly got him to a Game 6 by just having a bunch of shooters and LeBron and Kyrie Irving. So if anything, they could just say, screw it, we'll just try to outscore you. But they don't have the personnel to do that at this point. I guess, is there anyone on this Cavs team who has the potential to actually be a decent two-way player for them in this series? I mean, maybe like Tristan Thompson, because Zaza just seems kind of unplayable at this point. And we saw what Capella was able to do against the Warriors for stretches of that series, and Thompson is a similar mold to Capella, and you could even argue that at his best, which was a couple years ago, Thompson was maybe as good as Capella is right now, but, you know, the dude's been on a decline this season, so besides that, I mean, like George Hill of a few years ago, sure, but this current George Hill who needs to get himself super amped up to put up 11 points in Cleveland, JR, who even knows what he's going to do on defense. I mean, Korver is your safest bet offensively. Him and Kevin Love, I guess, but defensively they're going to have a tough time. I do think Korver also gets kind of overwhelmed athletically when the Cavs go up against the Warriors as well, especially if it becomes a track meet. Maybe Jeff Green could hang around because, if anything, he's just like a 6'9" dude who can move relatively well. I mean, I don't think he's that smart of a player, but I guess he can hang around at least. Yeah, the Cavs are going to lose, okay? I think this will be a sweep, 4-0. LeBron's the best player. If it goes to a Game 5, LeBron just goes absolutely nuts, or Cleveland just can't miss from 3. That's pretty much all I've got. I think the Cavs defense is nowhere near good enough to have a chance. LeBron does not have Kyrie Irving next to him to where they can just outshoot the Warriors, and this is going to be a wash of an NBA Finals. But we did it. We went 12 minutes, and I managed to draw up some ideas for Cleveland, and they probably have some that I haven't thought of, but pretty much just bank on, just go for the boards relentlessly, try to attack Steph Curry every single time, and just pray that like J.R. Smith and George Hill and Jeff Green, like they just can't miss from outside. But I don't think those things are going to happen, and I think the Warriors are going to win this thing pretty easily.